Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his...
And right away, he lost the football. And luckily, one of his teammates able to fall on it, so the NFC will hang on to the football. Points 1, 2, and 3 in their defensive game plan was to get to the quarterback and knock the ball free. They did it there. Luckily, offense hangs on to it.
Yeah, that's got to serve as a wake-up call, though, because they can't afford to let the ball go over to the defense and miss opportunities. And I'm not saying it happened here, but you know what a good rule of thumb is when a play like that occurs? You know who usually recovers it? The guy who missed his block and let his quarterback get hit.
The fumble on first down. Now here's second down. From the gun, it's Favre. And his throw's going to be incomplete. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then. Haven't met a corner that's worth his salt yet that ever admits to worrying about man coverage. How about the play there, breaking that pass up?
So on fourth down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, two-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. It's a return of 4 following a 42-yard punt. And the AFC will take over, 1st and 10. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And very little running room there. He did get a couple up to the 49. They'll be in search of 8 yards here as they hope to convert the first down. Throwing is Brady on 3rd down. And he cannot get rid of it. The NFC getting in there for the sack. A well-designed corner blitz that gets him for a loss of 8 yards.
It always helps for a visiting team to come in and set the tone on defense. In fact, when we talked with them prior to the game, they said they wanted this home crowd to feel like they had to hide their valuables when they were in town.
Well, the home crowd quiet now early. See if their offense can take over and get some points on the board. On is the Hall of Famer Ray Guy to punt this away on 4th down. And a nice job here to down this one right on the 5-yard line.
That is how you flip field position. That's an absolute bomb of a punt. Downs it inside the 5-yard line. Absolutely ideal.
From that position, you're hoping to get it down inside the 15, inside the 5. Superb. Well, the NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. Every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
It's a second down run with Sanders. And he's only able to work this from the 8 to the 10 for a pickup of 2. They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. From the shotgun, it's Favre. That's going to be caught along the sideline, and what a job of keeping his feet in bounds. They say that's a catch. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. They had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10. Here's Favre to throw. And he's going to go down. They get to him back at the 40. He couldn't get rid of it. He takes a sack for a loss of 6 to bring up 2nd down. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy Game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root.
Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Rod Woodson with a pick. And the return will stop them well inside their own 20 at the 15-yard line.
Definitely not the ideal time to see that mistake, partner, because this is still a one-possession game, and that's at least a field goal that just vanished with that turnover. Now, pressure's on defensively to prevent that pick from turning into points for the other side.
Now the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Now a toss play. Allen. And obviously not fooling anybody here as they stop him behind the line of scrimmage. It'll go down as a 2-yard loss, and it brings up a 3rd down.
I like the strategy. Extra tight ends, extra beef. They want to run the football, but that means they probably want to run it inside. If you get strung out on the perimeter, you're in peril.
Yeah, we saw the result, negative yardage. So now a 3rd and 7, and defensively, it's a dime look, 6 DBs. The final shot before half for Brady. And this is caught. It's Brown. And he'll be taken down, but not before they reach them. But coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducted coach in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. Well, the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
The last play got just a yard. Here's 2nd and 9 from the 26. To throw, it's Brady. This will be caught by Brown. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
He really connected with the people right from the start. As people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
And on 4th down, on is the punt team sending this one away. Here's Hester. A nice return that time of about 14 yards. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. Well, the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went out and called 8 Super Bowls together. And how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Might we see our first touchdown of the game? Here's 1st and goal. Now Favre. Throw right side, going to be complete to Moss. That's good for a gain of 6, 2nd and goal. Going to give it up the middle. Here's Dickerson. And he'll be stopped about a yard shy of the goal line after a pickup of about 3. So now things get interesting on 3rd and goal from the 1.
This almost becomes a Darwinian call, doesn't it? Almost survival of the fittest here. I know we can go all cliche. I'll go ahead and do it. Who wants it more here? Who has a better leverage at the line of scrimmage?
And he is in. Touchdown NFC. Punching it in from a yard away as his guys are first onto the scoreboard here this afternoon. Well, these two teams battled through a scoreless first half. Finally, a breakthrough here in quarter number 3.
And I just wonder how that played for both of them psychologically, because when you battle through a scoreless first half, now you know that every possession is increasingly crucial. Who can put points on the board, make the other team chase? Wonder if you get a lift and if they get deflated a little bit.
Morton Anderson now for the extra point. And that is off the left upright. It's no good. So with the missed PAT in his rearview mirror, he goes back out to kick this one off. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And with the way this offense has played thus far, to be frank, they got to feel pretty grateful to be in the ball game.
I would agree with you totally because they've done all of nothing offensively in this game, yet they still find themselves in a position on this drive where a touchdown can give them the lead. They need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, they're still looking for that first touchdown here in the third quarter. All they have so far to field goal. So through 3 quarters of the John Madden Legacy game, it's the NFC Stars and young Coach Madden on top. And we'll be back to the Coliseum after this. They'll break the huddle, come up on 2nd and 8 at the 27-yard line. Here's Allen. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Here's Ray Guy now as he's on to punt for the AFC. Averaging over 50 yards a punt so far as this one's away. On the return, Hester.
I got you, boy. I got you, boy.
And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. Touchdown. Just a fantastic punt return of 80 yards as his guys are able to extend their lead. So they boost their advantage here in the 4th quarter. And don't get me wrong, you take the points. I guess the only downside is didn't really get to milk any of the clock here in this last quarter.
But they'll take the points because, as you and I both know, here in the 4th quarter, things intensify. And while they may not have taken firm command of the game, it does give them a little bit of a cushion.
Now a 2-point conversion attempt forthcoming. The quarterback will keep it himself. And he is into the end zone to bump the lead up 2 more. That right there makes up for that missed extra point they had after the first score.
Yeah, they went ahead and got back to level by going for 2 and having the normal amount of points. So that works out pretty well for them. And if you're the kicker, don't worry about it too much. Now they've got back to where they want to be, they'll try it out there for the next one.
So after the punt return touchdown, let's see what their opponents can do with this kickoff. And Hall not going to bring this one out. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. And you're still in this game. I mean, yeah, you haven't scored. Offense obviously has struggled, but you're only 2 scores down, so all hope not lost.
Not at all, because we're talking about the NFL, and teams can score fast in this league. Quick strikes, you're right back in it. You're exactly right. Keeping hope alive.
And that is caught on the right sideline, but out of bounds, says the line judge. The throw took him a little too far. It's 2nd down. On the toss, here's Allen. And only a couple for him there as the tackle is made at the 42. They do get a couple, but they'll be left staring at a 3rd and 8 coming up. So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden Legacy game. The NFC trying to finish this one off. We're back to Oakland after this. Throwing now is Brady. And this is intercepted, and that should do it. Picked up by Jalen Ramsey. And he's going to bring this one back for an NFC touchdown.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense.
Well, certainly those are the types of mistakes they're trying to avoid as they attempt to protect this lead late in the game.
And let's face it, they're hoping that this one doesn't cost them in a significant way. Yeah, one guy committed a penalty, but now the entire defense has to pay the price and try and rise up and overcome it.
Meanwhile, Brady's throw complete here to his receiver, Brown. First down now, but that clock rolling. Now Brady. And nowhere to fit that football in. It's knocked away and incomplete. Brady's incompletion on first down leads to a 2nd and 10. Now Allen. And he stopped immediately there. They'll get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. Brady. And the throw there going to be incomplete.
That means there's just one last chance left, and this has to be a first down or a touchdown, or this game's over.
Now Brady got to have this one. And it's going to be batted down. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and as a result, possession switches hands. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. And a few kneel downs should just about do it. Now, defensively, they do have all 3 timeouts, but very little reason to use them at this point. And touchdown! A great effort there. His 2nd touchdown of the afternoon as his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further. This has just really been a solid second half from them, CD, as they add another touchdown to the lead and they start to pull away in what was once a close ball game.
Yeah, they actually put the Jets on in this one, didn't they? Put a little cherry on top with that touchdown. Now we just got to play out this final minute, and they'll get a chance to celebrate a very hard-earned victory.
Now to try to add the extra point, the lefty Anderson. And he atones for his miss the first time around as this one is up and good to extend their lead. I'm not sure if they drew that play up to score, but it scored indeed. One play on the ground and into the end zone for 6. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games, and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hand.
He's got a man complete. And he'll be marked down right at the 20-yard line. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop him with a little over 30 ticks to go in the football game. Brady now on first down. Man open left side is Brown. Now another timeout called for by the offense as they get it with 26 seconds to go in the football game. To throw again on second down. Brady gets this one to Hill. A 5-yard gain there makes it first and goal. Now the offense will burn their third and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break.
He kept the receiver in the short field, but that let his quarterback get the ball quickly to him before either guy in double coverage could react.
And they're going to get to him, a sack. Sack back at the 9-yard line. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.